Okay, so as you can see around you, there's a whole lot of different faces. And the fantastic thing about the peer review is that it's not the same faces every time. So what we do is we get into a team and we find the particular people that will suit that school, and we go into a school and we look at 4 domains. You're going to just have to quickly help me here. So the first one is leadership and management. So we look at the leadership structure of the school and we interview the principal, that kind of thing. Then we look at the teaching practice in the class, and then we look at the culture of the school. And then the last domain is the community. It's the way we fit into the community. So it's quite in depth. But what we always say to the school, the staff, is that it's just a snapshot. Whatever we see, you might have something really fantastic, but we might not see that. For me, what's great about the peer review is that it is not some outside group coming in, like Umalusi or Ikwa, that we all have had the wonderful experience of. They don't come in and say, right, your pay is dependent on this, that, and the other. So it's not a group of people coming in to tell you they're the experts and this is how you should do it. It's actually us coming in, looking at, like John was saying, precise traits, so all the specific things we noticed, just like that, within 2 days of being there. The other thing we look at is the last one is then the little room for improvement. So it's little quick fixes. So the fact that when the kids come in, for instance, they just walk in and there's no real routine. So something as simple as that. We say we'll give them an example, that's an example, and just say, well, if you just fix that, you can make such a big difference. Then your time is taken from the time the kids walk into the class to the time they leave. That kind of thing. And then the last thing we look at is the big rock. And that is something that if you don't break down that rock, your school is either going to close down or you're really not doing the best you can as a teacher. So those are the kinds of things we do. And when we look at these classes and we look at all of this, it's very, very, I don't want to say pastoral, but it's really as almost like a friend saying, you know what, you do this so well. If you just did this a little bit differently, it could be so much better. So for me, that's where we are. We've done about 9 schools so far. Katie, I don't have the exact numbers. 11, there we go. We've done 11 schools in 2 years? Fantastic. I've been involved in 3 or 4 of those. We have 1 more in Cape Town, and then we're just going to look at the other schools that we haven't done, and we'd love you to be part of that. So,
we'll talk a bit more about that's part of what we're
So big inertia in terms of where it might lead to?
The shift from the hierarchy to the peer.
Yeah, I think it's key. Every time I've got into an environment, either as a team member or a team leader, we got our own school, we have the pilot at the morning. It's just been phenomenal takeouts for us as individuals. So that process of helping is very much around working out the things that really make a difference to your own space. And I think the genuine, vulnerable experience that every teacher has when there's this transparent, open discourse between peers and people who are at the coalface. Those are real issues, those anxieties. We've got to redefine the profession, and that's quite key. Is that someone said the other day that if a medical practitioner stepped into a surgery or an operating theatre today, you have to, something that came out of the 19th century, it would be worlds of difference. But for the most part, teaching, if you take a teacher from 150 years ago and put them in front of an average class, they would recognize what to do. They'd probably just step in, minus a few technological issues. But so we've got to rethink about what you do, and peer review takes us into new ground. And again, it's that bigger picture of of meaningful discourse around change, non-authoritarian, non-inspectorate, peers taking their profession somewhere. And our country needs that.
And we do that within a structured document context. So that it's no surprise the document is shared with the school beforehand. It's clear what the intentions are. We're just giving you a snapshot in the context of these 4 domains and in these specifics within those 4 domains. Which, given the history again of the fear of panel inspections, of the fear of people coming in to tell me what I'm doing right or wrong, and that having an impact on my future, it's entirely different. This is really the joy of having somebody caring enough to come in and say, can I help? And that's where I think we're referencing the pastoral. That's where it feels pastoral, because this is essentially caring, and it does feel like family time. It can be jolting, can be shocking. There are waves within schools sometimes for some people, hearing criticism creates panic, and we are learning a little bit about that, and preparation is to be very good. Preparation of the schools, but it also extends to the instructional part that we've worked at, where classroom visiting by peers is an essential part of our growth. So the notion of peer support within teaching, and then leadership peer support, which David alluded to earlier. How do you do this? What do you do with that? That instant having a peer support network, which is not. When Fadila and I met recently to go to the department with Kirsten, we didn't waste any time talking about what's going well. We immediately said, I'm battling with this and I'm battling with that. We were into the territory of how can we help? How do we help? How do we help? And we were able to action some of that from our point of view. And we had some real challenges with IT, and so we said, go visit you and meet your IT teachers and meet our IT teams. So it's such a gift. They would trust that, but it's come because we've sat as peers and not